Welcome everybody to this webinar, Publishing Made Easy, a value discovery session for publishing professionals. As we progress through the various speakers and demonstrations, please feel free to put questions into the Q&A panel. And on that basis, yeah, more and more people are joining as I'm speaking, which is fine. So let's just go into the webinar overview. So this is what we'll be covering. As I'm sure many of you will know, publishing's in a state of flux at the moment, and the do more with less statement has never been more prevalent. So in that context, we'll go through a quick introduction to IC Tect. We'll look closely at what the US Air Force was facing and then demonstrate the IC Tect solution. We'll also spend some time looking at the early impact and opportunities of AI and then finish with a Q&A, time permitting. And to prove it's live, everybody, somebody's just started a lawnmower right next to me, so outside. So I do apologize if you heard that noise. Anyway, carrying on. So some introductions. I'm your host. Some of you may know me, or at least may know my name. I'm Phil Barrett. I've spent most of my career sleeves up, as I say, in SGML and XML publishing technology, but my main experience is associated with DITA, DocBook from the old days, and S1000D. We are very grateful to have Mrs. Dol Holman with us today. Dol was the, I'm going to have to be really careful here, Chief of Plans, Program and Information Technology at the Air Force Departmental Publishing Office, better known as the AFDPO. Dol will be laying out the publishing needs that she faced during her time in that specific role. We also have Mark Ertl here today. Mark will present the IC Tect solution to the problems faced by the AFDPO, and Mark's a project manager here at IC Tect. Also, we have Pradeep Jain. Pradeep will take a short look at AI in the publishing processes. Pradeep's the crazy inventor, he says, founder and chief content architect for IC Tect, and he specializes in intelligent content, semantic technologies, high quality XML, and content architectures. So I don't intend to spend too much time on slides. We want to get to the more important parts, but we'll just quickly move through these. So just for a grounding, IC Tools is a US-based company. IC Tect is a US-based company based in Wisconsin. As you can see here, our key message is that we bring intelligent content and artificial intelligence to your documents, but we do this using familiar tools that you'll already be using and probably on your desktop, and that's mainly, and it's important to note here, Microsoft Word. Any presentation like this will always cover at least one of these customer slides, and so here it is. Here's a selection of our customers. IC Tools and IC Tect solutions are applicable to many markets that are indicated here. Defense, federal, professional publishers, technical documentation, etc. is all important. I'm sure many of you will know some of the organizations listed, but worthy of note here are certainly at the top there, the US Air Force and US Army in the government sector, IEEE in the standards market, and at the bottom there, Lam Research is a good customer who is in high tech. They make wafers for IC chips. Okay. So in comes intelligent content solutions, and we're looking in the world of document workflow. So automation of contracts, standards, defense publications, technical documentation, etc., etc. This slide shows typical publishing areas where intelligent content solutions are used and where they offer significant value. This slide, I hope, will mean something to people on the call as well. So I'm hoping that we can cover some of the areas that are relevant to you, maybe legal documents, defense publications. But it gives you an example of where intelligent content solutions play their part. So how do we address the problem? What is the problem? So there are often complex and time-consuming processes surrounding a typical publishing scenario. In my early days in publishing, I certainly recognized this diagram. And so things like conversions from one format to another, one source to another, grammar checks, reviews, and then back and forth iterations of all of those, certainly we know take time and money. And so we're going to try and, with the demonstrations and the questions hopefully later on, demonstrate how we address these issues. Okay, so talking of these issues and the solution, do more with your existing resources whilst reducing your production time, certainly as a mantra for ourselves. And you can see along the bottom there that we're using very standard solutions, Microsoft Word. We're creating compliant documents, consistent style guides, XML whilst you're in Word, and automatic format publications, and out to whatever you choose, multiple outputs. We're going to cover those in more detail, but as you can see, we'll be talking about authors, editors, production specialists, and out to a final product. So ultimately, a significant reduction in the number of steps in the process is achieved. So here's a quick glance, just a very quick glance at our game-changing product. So we're not going to go into any detail on this slide because there will be a lot more live ways to look at this as we go through. So just quickly, along the top, what I would call the menu bar, there is an intelligent content menu item. Then in the ribbon bar, there's from left to right, a new ribbon that appears when you click on intelligent content. And typically the workflow for using IC tools will go from left to right. So they're not just randomly put there in the ribbon there. And then across the rest of that screenshot there from the numbers that you can see, we're not going to go into any detail, but certainly on the left hand side the checks are there. Look at 3, 6 and 4. They will become more and more clear as we go through. We may not cover exactly what's there, but that gives you an indication of how people will be working if IC Tools is installed. So again, just a very quick video here as an introduction from Kim Cutchins, who's the former president of the American Peanut Research and Education Society. It's only a few seconds, folks.
IC Tech software is a game changer. It takes anybody else on the market, you send it to them, and it takes 5 to 7 days to get an article done. They send it back to you to review. If there are changes to be made, you have to send it back. That's another 5 to 7 days. I sit down, I read the manuscript, I edit the manuscript, send it to the authors, and when they send it back to me, I make those changes, and within minutes I have a final product. And I can have that up and on the website again within minutes. And this is incredibly unbelievable. I've always felt that technology could make a difference and help small publishers get their work out there to be seen at a reduced costs and reduced effort. It gives me complete control over the product. As I said, just to find an all-in-one package that I can sit and do myself. I am not tech savvy. I can work with this product. It is easy to use. It is really and truly a game changer.
Great to hear. Okay, so to the main part. We'll move on in the webinar and cover specific needs of that the Air Force were facing. And looking at the bullets there, I don't need to go through them because Dol will cover the bullets above. And so let's listen to Dol now. So this is a few minutes of a demonstration.
Good morning. My name is Dol Holman, and I'm a civil service retiree from the headquarters, Department of the Air Force Department of Publishing Office. You will hear me refer to that office as AFDPO. It is my pleasure to share with you my experience with the ICTech publishing software. But first, I must take you back. Before publishing into the electronic age, AFDPO analysts performed many manual procedures to process and publish publications. This was the case throughout the Department of the Air Force. In the early 2000s, Headquarters Air Force decided to centralize all Air Force publications. This included major commands, base level, field operating agencies, and Headquarters Air Force. What this meant is that AFDPO would be responsible for the entire publishing process. Each agency's subject matter expert would develop their own publication drafts and in turn send them to AFDPO for processing into the required format before publishing to the e-publishing website. Now, this was a daunting task. So therefore, AFDPO had to produce an answer, or come up with an answer that would meet the mandate from headquarters. So the solution at the time was to acquire contractor support. So AFDPO wrote the requirements, and eventually a contract was awarded to provide publication formatting. The analysts were responsible for getting the publication ready to send out to the contractor. This included reviewing, some editing, and ensuring the publication was written in accordance with mandated Air Force publishing standards. Once the analyst had performed all the manual checks, the publication was placed on a dedicated shared drive and then FTP to the contractor for formatting and saving as a PDF. Once the contractor completed the task, the file would be FTP'd back to AFDPO. The analyst would then do a quality check to ensure there were no issues within the document. Say, for instance, something missing, a paragraph got dropped during the formatting process, etc. The analyst would have to ensure all of this was good before it could be published to the e-publishing website. This was not only costly, but very time-consuming, and eventually created a backlog. So because the outsourcing at the time was so expensive, the contract was not renewed, and the director of AFDPO at the time was given a mandate to bring the entire publishing process in-house. At that time, AFDPO began to look at requirements. So they formulated the requirements as outlined or in accordance with Air Force standards and internal AFDPO procedures. So the solicitation went out and ICTech won the contract. So ICTech took the Air Force publishing policy guidance and programmed their software to perform according to the requirements that were set forth. Now, of course, all of this was new to the analysts because they had never done this before. That is, tag or format a document before, because as I stated, it was sent out. So ICTech provided hands-on training in a group setting and worked side by side with each analyst to ensure they were comfortable with using the software. All of the analysts were provided step-by-step instructions. The software was placed on their computers, and long gone were the days of FTPing. The ICTech software was able to do compliance checks inside of the publication to ensure policy standards were met. If something was missing, the software would flag it and provide an option for corrective action. The analyst had the option of accepting the change or ignoring it. The software was a game changer for AFDPO. The reduction in processing time was amazing. The standard at the time was 20+ days, and with ICTech software, the processing time was reduced to a maximum of 11 days and sometimes even less. The ICTech software generated not only a PDF for posting to the e-publishing website, but it created a formatted document with XML tagging. This was very important because this document was used to integrate the various supplemental documents, such as lower base level publications and interim changes, into the higher headquarter publication that was eventually published to the e-publishing website. This was a win. ICTech never hesitated to work with AFDPO. The software was updated as policy changed. And as the contract progressed, I personally led an AFDPO team to work with ICTech for the development of additional requirements to include an editor feature, ensure 508 compliance, and to develop an EPUB app with the link to be placed on the e-publishing website. This is now a reality. The ICTech software has been and continues to be an integral part of the AFDPO publishing process. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I just want to thank you for allowing me to share my experience with you on the ICTech publishing software.
Thank you very much for that, Doll. It's a really clear presentation of the needs that you were facing, and of course the ICTech solution that was deployed. We move now to the actual solution that Doll was referring to. So my colleague Mark Ertl will now cover these bullets that you can see now in detail, demonstrating the intelligent content tools used to address the needs of the AFDPO. So without more ado, I'll hand over to Mark.
Thank you, Dal, for presenting the backdrop of the need for AFDPO to produce high-quality, compliant documents in multiple formats, all in-house. In this demonstration, I will show you how an analyst for the Air Force Departmental Publishing Office would use our software to produce a compliant, high-quality, and well-formatted document for publishing. Our software is called IC Tools, or Intelligent Content Tools. Documents such as Air Force instructions, Air Force manuals, and others are processed with IC Tools. A version of IC Tools is also used by the Defense Contract Audit Agency and the Army Publishing Directorate. Even Medal of Honor certificates are processed with IC Tools. To provide an understanding of an Air Force publication, let's take a look at the Department of the Air Force's e-publishing website. Now, this is a public website, so anything that I show you is also available to you. As you can see, as I scroll down here, this AFMAN 21-202 is available in a PDF and an EPUB. Let's open up this PDF. This AFMAN was published 30 May of 2024. It is 76 pages in length. Now, a lot of Air Force publications may be considerably longer than 76 pages. You will see a table of contents, and that is actually auto-generated by our software. And then past the table of contents, you will see the first chapter. And things are nicely formatted with bolding and numbering. And the number can go out to several levels, and this is only 2 levels out, but it can additionally go a few more. As we scroll through, you can see there are hyperlinks, there are cross-references as well, and tables, there'll be figures also. And I'm going to quickly go down to the bottom of this document to the end of the body. The chapter 1 started the body of the document, and now we have the signature block. And then after the body is the end matter, where you have your glossary with references, some forms, acronyms, actually lots of acronyms, and terms. And after the terms, there is an attachment too. So the analysts will publish this, and this is what the publish form looks like. Again, you have front matter, you have the body, and then the end matter. So let's take a look at what the analyst gets initially to work with that ends up getting to that finished product. Now, this document is an Air Force instruction. I've modified it for our demonstration purposes, and it is set up similarly to an Air Force manual. As you can see, it is a draft document. There's no seal in the front matter. The margin spacing is basically all along the left, and it's in just a regular draft format. The AFTPO analyst must ensure publication compliance, format this document, and then publish. IC Tools has, let me scroll back up to the top. IC Tools has an intelligent content tab that is part of Microsoft Word's UI. So you can use all of Word's existing functionality to make any changes, to review the document, and then you can also use intelligent content. So when we click on the Intelligent Content tab, our ribbon shows up, and the analyst will work left to right across the ribbon to get the document that's ready for publishing. The first set of checks on this button on the left is for pre-checks. And the pre-checks are a number of groupings. Let me go ahead and run these, and I can speak about a few of these. The first set of pre-checks is related to 508 compliance. And actually, if these items are not corrected, the Adobe Accessibility Checker would flag those. You can see at the bottom of the UI, the software is running through the checks, and the issues are shown with these blue hyperlinks. The analyst would then click on the hyperlink. The software is going to take you to the issue, and then you can address it. So the pre-checks are complete. Now let's start with these checks that help with 508 compliance. Table with merged cells. So it takes us to this table 4.1, and indeed we've got this top cell that's merged over the top of these three columns and this cell as well. So let's just make the assumption that the analyst reaches back to the customer, the writer of this document, and the writer, the customer says, let's just go ahead and delete those two rows. They're really not necessary for understanding in this table. Now that would make this table compliant. Looks good. Table without header. Flags this one again. And in order to avoid flagging by the Adobe Accessibility Checker, it's important that the header row is set to be repeatable. So let me do that. I'm going to right click on this, set table properties, and there's a repeat as header row option. And what will happen is if this table breaks across two pages, it'll show this header at the top of that second page. We're taken to another table. This one is quite a bit longer and will likely split between the two pages. And you can see the header does not repeat here. Let's go ahead and put that setting on. And you can see that the header will repeat, and that makes it 508 compliant. Figures without alternative text. Those with screen readers will need to have alternative text so that they can adequately understand what is in this figure. So a subject matter expert would have to write something, and in this case, we're just going to put placeholder text here, but indeed, someone would have to write something much more descriptive than that in order for it to be 508 compliant. But the option is here to be able to do that. The next check says table, figure, number, and title. And you may have noticed that there is some messaging and commenting at the bottom of the UI. So in this case, it says tables and figure titles must contain a key, number, and bold title. Well, it has a bold title, but it does not have the key and the ID. So let's go ahead and put that in. As we scroll down in our check results, ID pattern invalid. So you can see here, it's invalid because we have this space that should not be there. We have a fix option. When I click fix, it removes that space. Required bold titles. There are rules about bolded items, and let's fix this to make that bold. Click next. Well, this title looks bold, but if we look more closely, we can see that this period is not bold. That would be a very easy thing for an analyst reviewing a document to miss. But of course, the tool is able to find it and to fix it. There it is now bold. Hyperlinks with spaces. Another tricky item to determine, but if you look carefully here, you can see a space right before the gov. Let's go ahead and use the fix option, and that is fixed as well. Reference section italics. Again, a nice quality feature here. It's flagging this title because it is not italicized, and we will make it italicized. Document quality edits. It's flagging releasability. We've seen this in a few documents that they have this as not spelled correctly. So we have a fix to spell that item correctly. And also it takes us to chapter 1, and by rule, the 1 should be in a Roman numeral. And finally, series number and title mismatch. This series number, 33, should match correctly with its series title. So we look at the messaging, it says, based on the pub number, the series title should be Communications and Information. Again, a tricky item to catch, but the tool does, of course. And we are going to put in that S. And now we have pre-checked this document, made some edits, and the next set of checks to help enhance the quality would be acronyms and styles. They're called consistency checks. Well, let's take a look at the acronyms. A number of acronyms checks here. And I did have an opportunity to work for as project manager on the Army Publishing Directorate. They use the software as well. And the editor there told me that the two biggest issues they have are acronyms and tables. So a lot of acronyms in these documents, and it's good to get them in proper order. Common acronym usage. We'll just look at a couple of these. And this one here is it's saying that common acronyms do not need to be defined. So in this case, in accordance with IAW is a very common acronym, and let's fix this. It just pulls that definition out. They don't need that extra wording. And one more we'll take a look at is plural acronym format. Here it says policy directives, but the acronym is singular. Let's go ahead and fix that. And now it is correct. Another item for improvement of the document are styles checks. And we have a number of styles checks. A lot of these are particular to the customer and their needs. As you can see, the first one there is for numerical designations of Air Force units. So that's very particular to Air Force. And let's take a look at these results. And in particular, let's take a look at apostrophe usage. The instructions comments down below say contractions should not be used in formal writing. So you can't use can't. So let's go ahead and click on fix, and it changes it to cannot. Next one, won't. Let's fix that, and it's will not. All right. So those are acronyms and styles checks. Now the document is ready for tagging. So I'm going to click on this entire document option and basic publication. What's happening is the software is going through the document and automatically applying XML tags in a granular manner. So everything is going to be marked up, and in just a moment, we'll be finished with the tagging process. So compliance checks come up, but before we take a look at those, let's take a look at the structure that's been developed now. And the XML, of course, is in the background, but here's the structure for the document based on that XML. I can click on a few of these items. Here's the publication number, publication date, the series title that we corrected earlier. We can go down to the body. Here we have the chapter, and we have the title. We have the first paragraph, which is the main para, the ID, the title, the text, We have subparagraphs. So you can see everything is tagged up very nicely. We also tag the cross-references. And cross-references are either internal or external, and we're able to do a pretty good job of determining that, and it's applied as an attribute to the cross-reference. And let me find a few other things that I'd like to show you. Here we have the figure table container for the table, and then for the figure. And as we get down to the end of the document, we have the signature block, and then we have the glossary, references. All these items are tagged out very, very discreetly, granularly, and acronyms as well, and so forth. So that is the tagging process and the structure that is created, all done automatically. Let's go ahead and run the compliance checks. So the document needs to be compliant with the DAFMAN 90-161. That's the Air Force's Publishing Processes and Procedures Manual. And once the checks are done, we'll take a look at some of these. And this first one here is recommending changes statement. This is in the front matter. And the front matter quite often has these statements that are required. And in this case here, the comment says that it's looking for DAF form 847, and this says AF. And not too long ago, they changed from Air Force to Department of Air Force, and we will correctly indicate and update that. Implementing supplementing statement. If the statement is not found, that is another required statement for the publication. Supersedes format. As we look at this, the comments here tell you what you should be looking for. And in this case, it should be full month form. As I look through, I see April is not in its full month form, so I will make that full month. The ID check. And quite often in these long documents, there will be ID issues because the customer is writing a lot of content. It's easy to make some ID issue mistakes. The software is saying the expected ID is 2.1.2. And we look at the previous paragraph, 211, and indeed this one should be 212. So let's go ahead and make that correction. Let's look at the next one. It says 444. ID expected is 454. Well, let's make sure we get the context. Certainly 453. Next one would be 454. Well done. And then last one, it's showing as 6125. Expected ID is 6124. Let's get above this table. What's the previous ID? It's 6123. All right, so the software does a nice job in flagging that one out, and we will also make that correction. The analyst can also review the references, all the cross-references that are in the document, as well as all the external references, and you can see that those are definitely external references here. And then the final check is reference link invalid. It's taking us to attachment 3. It says see attachment 3. An invalid reference link is a link that has no destination in this document. So what we will do is make the correction. The assumption is that we're going back to the customer, and the customer is going to say, in this case, that it should be 2. So let's go ahead and make that change. All right, so that takes care of our compliance checks. Now this document has been checked for quality issues with pre-checks and acronyms and styles checks, and also with the compliance checks to make sure that it is compliant. Now the next step that we have is we're ready for formatting. And we can click on this formatting button, and with one click, this document can be automatically formatted to the styles that are asked for by the Air Force. And this will be the document then that's generated into a PDF and an EPUB and published out on the e-publishing website. See how quickly that happened? Now we have the front matter. It's all in good shape. We also have the table of contents, and we also have the body content. Everything is looking good. We have our blue hyperlinks, etc. So here's our formatted document. It is now ready for creating into a PDF. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's click on this button for the PDF, and it will generate our PDF. And here's our PDF. All right, one of the things that I will point out is that our software actually puts on these tooltips. If you mouse over the top of an acronym, it will tell you what that acronym's definition is. Let's go back to the formatted copy. Next item that we can generate is the EPUB. So that's another format, and I will go ahead and open this. We use Adobe Digital Editions for the reader, but of course you could have this on a smaller device. As you know, the EPUB content is reflowable content. So as you make adjustments, it reflows within the screen. And we also have tooltips here. If you click on the acronym, the tooltip will appear. So that's it. That's the process. We took a draft document, worked left to right on the UI, and we're able to create a compliant, high quality document for the Air Force to publish on their website. I'd like to let you know that we also do supplements and interim change documents. For example, a base may need to have specific information for that base for this type of a publication. They can actually submit a base supplement, which is a separate document, and we can integrate that base supplement into a parent document like this and have the base information identified in that parent publication. That'll be for another day. So IC Tools helps ensure a quality, compliant document for Air Force publishing. Feel free to ask questions during the Q&A session. We will be happy to schedule further demonstrations on anything of interest to you.
Well, thanks go to Dol for the presentation and Mark's response to that in his great demo then. So I'm looking at the Q&A panel and no questions have been asked so far. So in case people don't know, across the top of your Teams window there's a little bubble with a question mark. If you click that, you can ask any questions you like. We did have some questions come in before the event, so we can tackle those as well if we've got time. Okay, there they go. Yeah, so we'll come to those. Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Lee. So anyway, moving on, we have Pradeep Jain is now going to walk through, as it says in the title here, artificial intelligence in the publications process. I mean, we can't do a presentation at the moment without mentioning AI. It's just, has to be done. So in that light, Pradeep will walk us through some authoring templates and look at engagement options after that with ICTeX, and I'll deal with those quite quickly. So without further ado, again, I'll hand over to Pradeep.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everyone. I would like to take the next few minutes to demonstrate applications of AI and intelligent content in publishing. Just a couple of slides and a demo. So to begin with, let's look at the state of AI and where things are. Well, of course, AI is big. My kids often say, well, I'm Mr. Obvious, but we all know that AI is here to stay. And many industries are going to be disrupted. Publishing is one of them. There is obviously a lot going on. Every day we have new models of AI coming up, and new products being pitched. We recommend that you make wise decisions in this gold rush. Of course, there are companies investing millions and more than millions in AI, but I see this statement from General Shanahan, who was the founding director for the joint AI lab for the Department of Defense, saying, well, the big problem is dirty data. And that's very true. If your data and content is not proper for AI, not prepared for AI, AI may not be able to do much. At this point, we are suggesting to our publisher customers and prospects that they invest in proof of concepts and not rush into the situation. Now, what we are doing at IC Tech, we are implementing publishing solutions with Copilot and IC Tools. Here they are side by side, and you can see that they present a very similar interface to the user, but the applications are quite different, and they actually help in the entire publishing chain. So when you look at Copilot, it's bringing the capabilities of content creation, summarizing, compiling documents, and many other things. When you look at IC Tools, it's giving you precise control over your content, as you just saw in the demo. Gives you compliance, it gives you machine readable and XML documents. I'm going to cover this with a demo of an AI and intelligent content powered template designed specifically for a publishing situation. So just to give a little background here, well, you have authors submitting documents, and then you have the entire publishing process. People spending a lot of time and money and going back and forth. One of our advisors, Diane Kennedy, she says very, very correctly, I think, the source is the solution. You have to go to the source to see where the problems in the content and in your publishing workflows are coming from. Beginning with the author. Now, authors are very familiar with Word templates. Many of them are writing their documents with Word. But if you give them template, and today, if you say, well, I'm going to give you a template with AI, this actually might get them excited. Also, you'll see in the demo that in the process, in a subtle way, you're also adding tools that will make the document more compliant. So you have to do less work when you receive the document. You minimize the back and forth. You reduce the publishing cost and the turnaround time. And one of the things I would say, although it's not easy for us to say it because we've been talking about XML for years, but I would say don't talk to authors about XML. It does not get them excited. Now, I'm going to take an example of a journal manuscript where we're going to take a look at a research paper, and we have some common elements there, keywords and abstract and references, which have been known for many years, and issues here and there. So let's take a look at the example. Let me go to the Word document. Let's open a template. So when you double click on it, it comes up in Microsoft Word. And here you can see in the template, you are providing some very specific guidance to the authors. So in this case, for example, we have the guidance about the abstract. It should be 150 to 250 words. It should be, this and that. There are keywords, index references. So let's take a look at references as well. And of course, the template gives you all of the formatting as well, that if you want to, you can use that with authors to make the document look nicer for them. So here we have examples of how to write references. And this has been an age-old problem in publishing. People not being able to submit reference in exactly the format that you want. And here we have some examples of references. So what I'd like to do is open the Intelligent Content tab. Now you'll notice that this is different from what you saw in Mark's presentation. We have a new thing here called AI Powered Template. When you click on the AI Powered Template, you see some new things here. So this is generative AI with many different use cases, suggesting content, formatting content, checking content, reformatting content, etc. So within each one, we can take a look at what we are covering here. So for example, here in the suggesting content, we have abstract and conclusion and keywords. We can look at formatting content. Let me open a sample document and I'll go through the examples. So let's go in here and we'll open the draft manuscript. So this is actually an article, something about designing of a brick with the sound absorption properties. And let's take a look at what this looks like. So your very typical research paper. I'll scroll down to the end of the paper to show you some of the elements for the demo. So I'm going to forward abstract and references. Let's go back to the beginning and let's click on the AI powered template. Let's begin with keywords. So this is often an issue. Authors don't necessarily provide you the right keyword. So how about we give them a tool that helps them with the keywords. So let me go ahead and remove these keywords here. And let's click on suggest content. And then let's click on keywords. So in here, this is now going to the OpenAI integration. And notice that it brings keywords based on the article content and based on the large language model, the wisdom that the AI has about this content. We can do things like checking content. So for example, let's go back to the template again and say check content. Now it can check the entire article, front matter, back matter, abstract. The abstract, as you know, needs to be prepared according to guidelines, the 150 to 200 words and so on and so forth. Well, let me just click on the abstract button and it's going to take you to a report that it generates, which can be very helpful to the author. So here is the report, and let's take a look at that. So word count should be between 150 to 250 words, it's 94 words. Content and comprehensiveness lacks sufficient details according to AI. Self-contained, well, it is self-contained, but includes abbreviations without spelling them at first. Structure. It's written as one paragraph, which is compliant. Okay. Mathematical equations, keyword and phrases. You see the abstract does not include any of the keywords or phrases, which is a significant non-compliance issue. These things can be helpful to the author, avoiding over repetition, readability and grammar. And then there is also a revised abstract actually suggested by the AI. Of course, you have to look at your policies on what are you permitting AI to do today. And then there are the keywords suggested. So this is an example of checking, and then I'm going to show you an example of reformatting content as well. So for the purpose of demo, I just have a couple of references in this document. And let's just go back to the template feature. And then let's look at formatting the content. And then there are the use cases for formatting references and tables. So let's just click on references. And then AI goes to work. And you can see, let me go down to the last part. And you can see that the original reference, which was written in a different style, is rewritten by the AI to meet your reference style. Hopefully, these demos help you understand the power of AI and how this can be applied in your publishing process. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Pradeep. Fantastic insight into what AI can start to do together with all of our technology, especially in the intelligent content side. So we're running slightly, we're tracking slightly late, so I'm going to cover the engagement steps very quickly. This is, I hope, self-evident in the slide itself, what we'd like to work with you on. And so the first of all, of course, the detailed demos with AI, we're always happy to be challenged to show demos and love doing demos to people and organizations. Moving on from that, we offer a 2-hour Copilot and IC Tools workshop showing you what you can expect from AI and IC Tools, but in the context of your own documents. And then more than that, we offer a 2-week workflow analysis ending with software and technology recommendations and a rough order of magnitude, a ROM, for a project where AI is obviously applicable. And last, we've developed 6 weeks workflow analysis together with a proof of concept. So that's quite an in-depth piece of work, but you get something from that, as I say, in terms of a proof of concept. So all of these events, the above, can take place either virtually, as in what we're doing now, at your own offices, at a Microsoft Technology Center near you. They're all over the world. But we also have our own premises at the Enlightened Living Center, and that's in Burlington, Wisconsin. So we're coming to the very end of the webinar now. You can see I'm shuffling my papers, and we do have some questions. So let's just jump in as quickly as we possibly can to those questions. I'll just leave that there for the time being. So just excuse me, folks, I'm just going to have a look at the questions to see. I can't see if any of them have been answered. So I'm hoping that Pradeep is now unmuted and possibly
Yes.
Dolcum. Okay, hi Pradeep. So Pradeep, we've just got a couple of questions. You may have already seen them. I could probably answer these, but you're probably going to be more comprehensive. Let's go with, has Microsoft ever made an update that broke the software? If so, how did we resolve it?
We've never had the situation where software is broken because we get an early version of Office because of our partnership with Microsoft. So by the time that you have the release version, our software is also up to date. And we going back to now, Warden.
Sorry, Pradeep, could you say that sentence again? We missed that.
So we always get an early version from Microsoft.
Yeah, yeah.
And we start our update of the software with the early version. So we've never had a situation where our software broke because of Microsoft update.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. This next question I completely understand, given that I know who it's come from, and it is, does IC Tools work with text, I think language other than English?
Yes. So we do have customers who've used with French and German at least, and some other languages as well.
Okay, great. Okay, let's just see if we've got time. Another question, if Dol's able to participate, I'm not sure, but I'll ask the question anyway. Maybe you can help as well, Pradeep. So I'd like to know from Mrs. Holman, what are the top benefits to the Air Force from using IC Tools?
One of the biggest benefits was bringing that process in-house so that there could be more control over the integrity of the finished product. And what I mean about that is that the analysts had ownership of the complete process with no handoff to an outside source. The other big plus was a decrease in publication processing time. As stated before, it was taking us 20 plus days, and the maximum with the tool cut it down to 11 days and sometimes even less. And that created a higher customer satisfaction. And a biggie was the ability of the software to follow the requirements as outlined. And the compliance check featured where the software was flagged or highlighted issues. And I think Mark demonstrated that. And it was just a game changer, especially with the XML tagged formatted documents so that we could integrate publications. And I think he touched on that. So yes, it was really, really beneficial to what we were doing at AFDPO.
Fantastic. It's great to have you, Dol. Thank you for that response. We may just push this and take the liberty of just asking one more question. So again, to probably best answered by Pradeep, but is there an option for a company's own developers to be able to make updates such as adding new business rules? I know the answer to that is yes, but you'll be more comprehensive.
Yeah. So we do also provide training to your development staff on how to configure the software and how to maintain on their own. We also collaborate with your development team, with your XML team on coming up with the solution together.
Excellent. Okay, so we pushed it to 2 minutes past, and for the attendees still here, there's maybe 15 people. Thank you very much for your attendance today. Again, can't emphasize more. Please come to us on at hello@ictech.com. Any other way, you'll find us on LinkedIn. There's another question come in. Okay, no, it's gone now. Okay, so we'll close now. Thank you again. It's been a pleasure for me. I hope it's been a pleasure for everybody on the call. We look forward to hearing from you. I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.